Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing a puzzle titled Pac Man. And you can see I'm being very deliberate about my use of language there. And if you look at the arcade game that Sleuth is actually playing, it's called Sleuth, it's not called Pac Man. Now, I'm sure many of you have already figured out what's going on. We are returning to Blobz' series, the arcade series, and this time it is all about Pac Man. But I'm trying to avoid the copyright owner of Pac Man is famously litigious, so I'm trying to avoid getting a copyright strike on the video/channel and end up having to take it down just because I've referenced it a bit too much. Now, what else do I want to mention? From the Blobz' series, actually, I should just take a quick look at the others that he's published. So he's got Space Invaders, which I remember, Asteroids I don't, and Centipede I don't, and Pac Man, which I do. And from the lot, absolutely Pac Man would have been my favorite. That's the one I kind of grew up with. Now, enough about all of this, because I'm just mesmerized by the construction from Blobz here. And the best way to show you is by actually putting it up on the screen. And that's what I mean by mesmerized, because you can almost recognize the level. You've got these thicker borders, which we'll take a look in a second if they actually have any implication to the game. Got Pac Man there, eating the white dots that are normally on a trail here, probably coins. You got the ghosts in there. You've got what looks like maybe power-ups behind these. And then the level design where you can see Pac Man would be able to sort of navigate here, pop out the left, come on the right side, a few walls and things like that. But what a phenomenal construction from Blobz. Let's take a look at the rules. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Standard. I know 3x3 boxes are almost hard to see with these thicker grey lines. Just look for the even darker black line that's behind them. But just think normal Sudoku because they are boxes there. What else do we have? The ghosts, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. I don't know why Clyde got away with such a name compared to Inky, Pinky, Blinky. So these four are a set of the digits 1 to 4. And I'm going to assume the language used here, that when it says the digits 1 to 4, so if red is 1, none of them could be 1 because they're no longer a set of the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4, unless they're all different and they're all unique. Last but not least, we have white dots separate consecutive digits. So if this cell here is a 2, which it is, this cell connected with a white dot to be consecutive would have to be 1 or 3. No mention of negative constraints, so I don't think there's a problem of having a 3 in here with no white dot joining these two cells. So that's all the rules we have for today. If you fancy a trip down memory lane, give Pac Man a quick go. Link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. So I think what I'm going to do is start with the obvious. These are 1, 2, 3, 4s. And continue with the obvious. Where we have digits that are given, this is clearly very deliberate. And let's just pencil mark the digits that they could be. And given what we have on the screen, essentially what I'm looking for is a bunch of white crop key dots in a row. Sorry, give me a moment, please. Apologies for that. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, so I had actually already started to solve it. Right, okay. So what I was saying, I think, is I'm looking for rows such as row 3 and columns such as column 3, where there's so many white crop key dots that it kind of limits options. So for example, row 3, 1s can't be here because of Sudoku. 1 can't be on this white crop key dot because it would have to have a 2 next to it, which is not possible. So none of these could be 1. Fortunately, these 3 could be, and they're in different boxes. 2 is also quite interesting here, because you see 2, since the 1 is not available in box 1, wherever I put the 2, it can't be in the middle of any of these white crop key dots, otherwise it would need a partner of 1 and 3. So 2 is actually quite restricted. Normal Sudoku, and then the white crop key dot restriction places it into one of these 2 cells. And whichever one is a 2, because of the neighboring one, there's always a 3 in here. Then there's always a 3 in there. And then only one of these 2's work. Here, it's better shown than described. If I put the 2 on the left-hand side, well, the next one would be 3, then the next one would be 4. So it doesn't matter which one it is, that will be the run. Then the question I would have is, how can I have a run of 4 digits that includes a 3, but doesn't include a 4? And that would be impossible, because 1, 2, 3 is the absolute maximum, so I can only cover 3 of these 4 contiguous cells. And therefore, this is the answer. This is 2, 3, 4. This is now, and this 2 helps. The 3 has to be this cell. Because if I put a 3 in here, 1 would be 2, 1 would be 4, and it's not allowed. So it has to be in there. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2, 4. 2, 4 again, and it's not 4, that's a 2, that is a 4, that's a 1. We have our break-in. Let's think about the rest of this. So this could be easier question. Where is 6 in this box? And it's none of these cells. And this is either 5, 6, 7, 8, or it's 9, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6. So the 6 is always on the white crop key dots. Can't hide it out here. And this is not the 6. None of these. So one of these is a 6. So this is 5 or 9. I was hoping for something easier, actually. And this could be 6, 7, 8, 9. Or it could be 5, 6, 7, 8. There's always a 9 in here. Oh, I really thought I was going to be able to place this, but I can't. Okay, this is not 1 or 4. 4. I don't actually know their names, whether this is Blinky or Inky or Clyde. It's blue. Half tempted to actually pause the video, look it up, and then I can refer to them correctly. 4 here gives me a 2 there. That's not a 2. Down here I have a 1 with, there's always an 8 in here, because it's either 7, 8 or it's 8, 9. And down here it's 1 and a 7, 9 with a definite 1. The white crop key dots are actually quite restrictive. Here is, I'm sort of using the same logic that we had here about looking for places where they're quite restricted. And I didn't really notice how restricted row 9 is earlier. So a question I want to ask here, where can a 3 go? So I really should be asking questions about the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. They're the ones that have been given. 3 can't be in these cells. 3 can't be in these cells either. Whichever one is a 3, it would require a 2 or a 4 next to it, and neither of which is allowed. So the only place for a 3 is in here. I can actually do 3, 4, and that would be 1. Or, of course, I could have a 3 in here. Which means 3, 3, 3s, which doesn't help us with resolving this 3, 5. That's not a 4. Kind of missed that earlier. That's a 2. So none of these now are 2. One of these cells is a 2, just Sudoku. Yeah, a puzzle that actually encourages me to do Sudoku. Wow. 1 is none of these cells. Can't be on any of the white crop kudos because the 2 is not available. So 1 is restricted to one of these 2 cells. Can't quite place 1 yet. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 6, 7, 8, 9. And I can't really place them either. What's interesting is, if this is 5, we know that this is 6, 7. So this would be 5 or 7. Or this would be 6 and 9. So there's a very specific pattern in here. Not one we could do much with, though. Probably something we can do with, but there must be easier things on here. It is a 2-star difficulty rated puzzle, like a 2. None of these are 2 now. Sorry, I'm selecting the wrong cells. There you go. That's a 2, which means that this is 1 or 3. I can't place 3 in any of these cells. If this is a 3, that would be a 4, and then that would be a 1. And then it would break this cell. So 3 is in none of these. But it can be here, and it can be one of these 2 as well. It's a tricky puzzle. Oh, row 3, I've pointed it out. None of these could be 1 because the 2 is not available. None of these could be 1 because the 2 is not available. That's a 1, that's a 3. That's not a 3. None of these, oh, hang on. One of them is a 3, sorry. This is not a 3. 3 is in one of these 3 cells, not very useful. 2, we've asked and answered. 1, not quite answered. 3, yeah, asked and answered here and in the column. In the column, yep. So one thing we haven't really done much with is the 4. 2 is in one of these 2 cells. We'll kind of figure out what that means in a second. I haven't really thought about 4 much, so, and I can't imagine that we've been given this for no good reason. Let's think about this. Why were we given the 4? 4 can't be any of these cells now in box 6. That's the only place for a 4. That means that's a 1 and that's a 3. Lovely. That's the ghosts done. That means there is a 4 in one of these 2 cells. If that's a 4, that would be 5. That would be 6. And then that would be 6. That would be 7, 8, 9. And that would be 5. 4, 5, 6. I don't see a problem with any of that. Let's think about the rest of this for a second. If it's not a 4, I think I'm in trouble with a lot of other options. Because you see, 5, we can't go 4, 3 because of the 3. So a 5 in here would put 6 and 7 and of course break this cell. So far, 5 doesn't work. 6, I guess technically I could do 5. No, I can't. If I put 6 and 5, I would break this cell. If I put 6 and 7, I break this cell. So I think we're going to end up with a similar pattern here. Whichever one I put, 7, it would have to have 6 or 8. Whichever one I put will break one of these 2 cells. And I think I can get away with an 8, can't I? No, because I can't put a 9, 10. That would have to be 7, and then it would break this cell. So the only option is 9. And then I could do 9, 8, 7, or 4, 5, 6, both of which work. And then that leaves me with a couple of options. So 4, 5, 6. And then I'd have 7, 8, 9. And the alternative 9, 8, 7, I'd have 4, 5, 6. No 4. So it'd be 5, 6, which is also fine. Come on, there's very nearly something here in row 1. I just can't quite figure out. We know that's the 2. We know one of these is a 5. Can't be neither because it would be 6, 7, 8. And then that would be left with nothing if that's not a 5. So what's the remaining digit that is joining the 2 in here? If it's 8, that would be 5, that would be 7, that would be 6, that would be 5. So it kind of looks like it's got to be an extreme digit. It's got to be 2, 4, or 9. And I'm just going to verify that because that seems suspicious. We saw that 5 would break because it's 6, 7, 8, and then an 8 again. 6, I imagine, would be a very similar chance. 6 doesn't work because of these two. One of these has to be 6, one of these has to be 7. If I put an 8, well, that would be 7, that would be 6, that would be 5, and that would be a 5 again. So yeah, it is 2, 4, 9, interestingly. Which gives me a 4-9 pair, virtual 4-9 pair. And then yes, 5, 6, 7, 8 quadruple. Come on, Sleuth. So we've got the ghosts. So really it's just down to Kropki dots now. Specifically white Kropki dots. 4 can't be these cells. It can be here. Highly likely is here because one of these two is a 4. I was just thinking if it's 4, 5 in here, and I don't know the answer to that. Let's just carry on doing some simple Sudokus, please. No 1s. Can't put a 1 in the middle. One of these is a 1. We're done with 1s here. No 1s, because that would be 2, 3, and then that would break this cell. So no 1, no 1s, no 1s. 1 is one of 2 cells in here. If that's 1, that's 3, that's 5, which again is not an issue. 3 can't go in any of these cells, none of these cells, not this cell. Yeah, so I should be doing a bunch of Sudoku. These 2 cells can't be 3, that's the only place for a 3. No 1s here, no 1s there, otherwise it would require a 2. 1. There's a one of these cells, that's a 1. We can finish the 1s, I hope. Well, they will line up in rows 7 and 8, meaning that's not a 1. Didn't mean to do that. That's the 1. Okay, can we do something magical with the 2s as well? Not really. Too many options for 2 in here, basically. 3s. That's placed. That's placed. Isn't it? 3 and 3, yep. That means 5. That means 1. That means 1. Lovely. And I think that's all the 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's all the 3s. The 1s are also done. The 2s, we still have a bit of a challenge in here. Then the 4s. Trickier. Got these 2. Oh, hang on. 4 is in one of 2 cells in here. Both work. And therefore, both of these work. And that's all the 4s. Okay. So, back to white Kropki dots. I mean, this run here is oddly suspicious, so we probably should give this a bit of a thought. So notice something, that both the 4 and the 5, they can't be here. And this can't be the 5, otherwise the 4 won't be here. So that's always a 5. And it's either 4, 5 or 5, 6. And then we end up with either 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. And therefore this is 2, 6, 9, and that's not a 6. Right, this slot. We've got to do something with this slot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 5, 6, 7. Don't know. Can't be 5. 3 in here, 2 in there. And this could be 5, 6. Let's just think about 5 for a second. 6. 6, 7, 8. I don't see a problem with that. And then we have 5 and 9. 5 and 9. That looks pretty good. So this is one option if the 5 is in here. Otherwise, the 5 is in one of these two cells, and that's a 6. Right, we're definitely focusing in the right place, I'm going to say. 5's not here. It's a harder puzzle than you might expect, actually. Much harder puzzle than you may expect. Right, so we did say that there is something involved in terms of the relationships and dependencies, such as if this is a 6, that has to be a 9. If this is a 7, this has to be a 5. Can we use that at all? So 6, 9 would make the rest of this 5, 7, 8, and a 4. Yeah, not very useful. Hoping by now that some of you have already spotted what I am clearly missing, and that you're racing ahead. So this is either 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. So this is 7 or 8. I think we're kind of circling around, coming back to this setup in here, which we've got to think around. Right, I'm just going to... So this digit and this digit can be the same. That's the main conclusion. I'm going to deliberately use like incorrect digits here, just because I'm trying to think this through. So this is possible. What else can I repeat in this run? These two digits can't be the same because they're at least 2 apart. I can't do 1, 2, 3, and then go back to 1. Yeah, it's odd, even, odd. This is even. Maybe that's the way to think about this for a second, is parity. And interestingly, 2s and 4s are not available for either. So we're talking about 6s and 8s. And 1s and 3s are not available for either, again. So, can't be 2 or 4 as well. Right. So if blue is even, this is 6, 8, this is a 7, and then this is, well, it can't be 5, it would have to be 7, 9, because I could do 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, for example. And clearly, because of the 7, that's the only way to join up these two. This wouldn't be the 7, this would be a 9, and this would be deliberately a repeat. So this is one possibility in here, and that would make this a 7, which breaks. Because 8 and 7 are gone. So blue has to be odd. This has to be even. This is 6 or 8. And these are not 1, 3, but they can be anything else. So 5, 7, 9. Can't be 2, 4 again. Can't be 2, 4 again. So these are 6, 8s. These two are the same. This one is different. Odd, odd. So kind of depends on what's going on in these cells now. Try and figure out what's happening. So this is 4, 5, 6, and then that would be 8, 7. I mean, this can't go 8, 7, 6. These two have to be the same. So 8, 7 doesn't work. 6, 7, 6, 5, but this can't be 4. So I'm kind of struggling to see how this can ever be a 7, because these two are the same. So it's either 6, 7, 6, and then 5, and then it can't be 4. Or 8, 7, 8, and then 9 and 10. Not a 7. Very small win there. And this will end up being, presumably, to leave enough breathing space, a bit of an extreme digit, because it's either 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, yeah, 9, 8, 7, 6. Do I always have a 7 in here? I think I do. 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah. It's very hard to spot. 8, therefore, and this is 7, 9. Therefore, these are not 9s. That gives me a 2. That gives me a 6. Very hard to spot. That's not a 6. The 6 has to be now in here. That's 5, 6. That's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not the 5. That is the 5. That is the 9. That is the 7. That is the 9. That is a 6 now. This is a repeat. This is the 8. And this has to be the extreme digit, the 5. Then we end up with a 4, 9 pair in here, although that 6 gives me everything. That's 7, 8, 9, 4. Not 4, is a 2. That 8 has given me 7, 6, 5, 9, 8. Love it when you've thought so much about the puzzle that it just basically folds once you just find that breakthrough. Is that 5, 6 again? Looks like it. Gives me a 5, 6 pair in the column. Let's not ignore this. And then I need another 7, 9, a 4, and an 8. And a 4, well, it's not this cell, it's not this cell. That's the only place for a 4. And 7, 8, 9. This is not a 9, but it can be 7, 8, and this is 7, 8, 9. Not as helpful. This column, this cell specifically is 7, 8. Just completing the row. These cells, well, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not 5. 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. It all works. When we place that 6, where does 6 go now? Here. Yeah, still not resolved. It's still fighting. The puzzle just doesn't want to go down. 7, 8, 9 again. Not an 8. Doesn't help. One of these, that's a 7, 8, 9 triple. That's a 5. There's essentially another 7, 8, 9. Plus a 2. Which we can now place, and therefore this is 7, 8, 9, and I can't seem to take away any digits really. This can't be a 9. This is another 7, 8. There's another 7, 8, 9 in here, plus a 6, which again I can't place. This is 6, 9. This is all of them. 6, 9, and a 5. Can I place the 5? No. So, there's another 7, 8 in here, the missing 7, 8, joined with either a 6 or a 9. So if it is 8, that would be 8, that would be 9. That looks fine to me. If it is 7, 6, both work. Have I used all the variants? Must be missing something. Come on. on, Sleuth, what are you missing? Placed all of these, used all the white crop kiddos, I've filled in all the white crop kiddos. So what I'm probably missing is poor scanning on my part, resulting in me not quite seeing something. So we said it's either 6, 7 or 8, 9. So 6, 7 would make this 8, would make this 9. 8, 9 would make this 7, would make this 6. That gives me a 6, 9 pair. That's not a 9. This is a 7, 8 pair. That's a 9. That's a 7, 8 pair, which gives me a 7, 8 in the column. That's a 9. That's a 7. That's an 8. That's a 7. That's an 8, which makes this a 6, 7 pair in some order, and therefore that is 8, that is 9, that is a 6, that is a 7, 8, 7, 9, not 9, 5, 6 pairs. Oh, no 6s. That's the answer. That's 5. That's 9. That 5 gave me 6, 5, 6, 5, and 7. And if I've not made any other mistakes, I don't think I've made any, 6 for the finish. It's a phenomenal puzzle, Blobz. I almost felt like I was Pac Man having to traverse the entire grid to collect all of these dots, really. I really disagree with the 1-star difficulty rating. Now, it could well be that my Sudoku skills are just not up to scratch. We've seen much evidence of that on this channel. But, yeah, I think this is the more elegant way. People could have brute forced it, which, to be fair, I kind of did anyway, but I think thinking about parity, maybe I really should have thought about parity much earlier in the puzzle. That probably would have helped. So I'm kind of wondering how you guys get on, and really looking forward to your comments. Regardless, phenomenal one in the series, Blobz. Thank you so much for the puzzle. Hope that you guys enjoyed it and the video. See you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.